Hi, I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapin.
And welcome to another edition of Our City Tonight.
We're here at Hydra Restaurant, downtown Vancouver, and we love to shoot the show here.
Wait, shoot the show? That's an old phrase. Just defrost you or something?
Yeah. Funny, Jim.
Anyway, we do like to shoot the show here, but we also like to eat the food here and sample some great drinks. We're in the Cabana Lounge, Hydra in the Exchange Hotel. But Lita, we got a full show.
We sure do. So let's get right to Our City Tonight.
This segment is sponsored by the Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.
Oh, this girl knows how to make an entrance.
What's up, bitches? Woo! Let's do this! Woo!
Whistler Village, Whistler Film Festival. Jim Gordon here with writer, director, we should say actress, but in the movie we're about to talk about, writer, director Laura Atkin. Welcome, first of all.
Thank you.
Thank you for a wonderful film. We're talking about Reuniting, which I watched recently. It's available now for you to be able to see. Let's describe to our viewers, this to me was like, it began as a big chill. We got a bunch of friends getting back together again.
Yeah.
They go back to the 90s. They're getting together on a beautiful Bowen Island home. You take it from there.
Yeah, so speaking of the big chill, years ago I was at the Toronto Film Festival and there was a big chill reunion.
Oh,
and
wow.
it was like the 25th anniversary screening or whatever, and all the cast was there. And I was watching it and I thought, like, why don't we make these movies anymore?
Why don't we? Yeah,
Like,
good
I
question.
loved 80s and 90s ensemble dramas like Steel Magnolias and Breakfast Club and all of those films. And so that was sort of in the back of my mind. And then years later, when I was trying to figure out what my first feature was going to be, that kind of came back. And, you know, I had access to all of these amazing actors. And so that's sort of where the spark came from.
You know, it's true. You bring up a good point, too, because watching the first part of the movie, and I'm doing my best not to give away anything, but there are some twists and turns. But my first thought with this movie is everyone brought their baggage and their luggage. And also that
They did.
This is something that everybody can relate to because everybody has glory salad days and
Yeah.
you get older and challenges and life kicks in. And that's really what the first part of the movie was for me.
Yeah.
You've also got a great cast. I'm thinking starting out with
Amazing.
Jesse L. Martin.
Yep.
Remember Law and Order and a lot of other shows. Talk about bringing this great ensemble together.
Yeah, so the character of Danny is my husband in real life.
Oh, okay,
so that was
really?
easy casting.
Nice casting, okay.
And I really wanted to write a role for him that he doesn't normally get to play. He normally is, the murderer or the CIA agent or the
Right.
general. Like he always plays these like very non-fun, and he's like a very fun person.
Right.
So that's sort of where Danny came from. I knew I wanted to film on Bowen, and I knew I wanted to have Michelle Harrison as the lead. So I've known her forever. I've known her for like over 20 years. So I reached out to her. She was on board. Bronwyn Smith and I worked together at an acting school, and she's incredible. And I'd seen her on stage, and so I was like, I want you to be in my movie. And then everything else kind of came together. Jesse was the last piece of the puzzle, really. Him and Michelle worked together on The Flash.
Right.
And so, she's like, do you want to be in this movie? And yeah. And then Carmen Moore actually was not who we had planned to be in the film. And 3 days before we lost our actress. And so we called her up and she just showed
Nice.
up. And she's incredible.
We should mention as well that part of what we love our show filming here at Whistler Film Festival is it really brings product and artists and talent up. And you really are, you're a longtime actress, but you really are a product of this film festival.
Absolutely. I did my first Q&A for a film that I was in 2011 or 2012. A Facebook memory popped up. I've had a short film screen here. I've been in talent labs here. I love this festival. It's great. It's awesome. Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And we wanted to run the segment when the film is out. It is out now. Where can people find out more information on Reuniting?
We have an Instagram page. My producer is over there. Well, Reuniting Film, at Reuniting Film.
My producers are always close by. 'Cause
Yeah, exactly.
On talent, people were just not that bright when it comes to that
so
stuff.
Instagram is probably the best.
Instagram,
Yeah.
okay. Look for Reuniting, a wonderful film. And it's, we saw it here at Whistler at the end of 2023. Laura, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This segment was sponsored by the Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.
Well, we're here at the Vancouver International Wine Festival. It's not another wine moment, but we are here with our friends from Access Planning who have been on the show a number of times with their Choya brand. And we also, this past November, did a wonderful sake dinner, at the Vancouver Club with a lot of those people. We're now welcoming another gentleman from the Diwazakura Brewing Company who has come to us from Japan. It is Naoki Kamoda. He is the International Export Manager. First of all, welcome to Vancouver.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have you here, sir. Okay, lots to talk about. We've had discussions about the Diwazakura company before. Let's talk a little bit about their history.
Okay. Diwazakura Sake Brewery was established in 1892.
Wow.
Yeah, it was about 130 years ago. And as you know, Yamagata Prefecture was a really good place for making sake because it is really hot in summer
Yeah.
and really cold in winter. So there are a lot of snow, and it made us a really beautiful melted snow. So it is difficult. It is really easy
Easy.
to get high quality sake rice, and cold winter made us possible to make really elegant sake.
Which people all over the world want, right?
Yeah. We have been exporting our sake to many countries. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Okajingo.
Okajingo,
and how important is the Jingo sake
Yep.
to the Diwazakura?
Yep. Actually, Okaginjo is our most important label of sake. It was introduced in 1980s.
1980, right.
So it was a long time ago. And Ginjo is a word of Japanese word.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Actually, it is, I can translate it, premium sake.
Premium sake.
Premium sake. And at that time, 1980, no one enjoyed Ginjo sake.
Right.
It was made only for getting a gold medal at sake industry's competition. So it's only for the competition, not for the sales. So Japanese sake industries have been making Ginjo sake only for getting gold medal.
And we should say,
Yeah.
all these years later, that the Diwazakura Ginjo sake is
Yeah.
available worldwide now.
Yeah, I think so. But, 1980s, the Azakura people thought,
Yeah.
what if we introduce to the public? Or what if introduce the Ginjo sake by reasonable price? So we did it in 1980.
Excellent. And I got a last question for you. We're here at the Wine Festival, but you have a booth set up. How has the reaction been from people?
It is so good because the last time I came here, it was 5 years ago, and it was just before the COVID, and I couldn't come to Vancouver for many years.
Right.
But so many people were really interested in sake, and I was able to talk with them, and I was able to educate how to brew sake, what's the sake taste like. So I was so happy, and it would be our great opportunity to introduce and to sell our Ginjo sake to the people living all around British Columbia.
That's wonderful. Hey, well, listen, thanks to our friends at Access Planning, and we want to thank Naomi Kamota, who's the International Export Manager from Diwazakura Brewery.
Yeah.
Welcome to Vancouver, and I look forward to sampling your sake after we're done all this filming.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
We hope you're enjoying the show. We just wanted to take a moment to remind you to check out one of our longtime sponsors.
That's right, Lita. It is the Richmond Sentinel. You can check them out online at richmondsentinel.ca, and also the old school hard copies. Always nice to have hard copies of the magazine.
Reading these magazines.
Yeah, you can also check out a couple of the columns that we do in the magazine. It's available now, and thanks to the Richmond Sentinel. Now back to the show.
Her father was the first Black Speaker of the House for BC. He was a well-known politician and a revered football player. In fact, there's a park dedicated to Emery Barnes in Yaletown. Joining us now is one of his very accomplished daughters, Beverly Barnes. In fact, I've known Beverly for over 30 years. Amazing. I've been wanting to have her on the show for a while. She is a designer, an athlete, as well as a writer. Welcome, Beverly.
Thank you for having me on the show. And it's great to see you again.
Oh, it's great to see you too. Way too long, but this is good. This is a good catalyst to get talking again. I've read some of your stories. I love, but we'll talk about that after. Let's dive into your design career because it's quite an interesting story.
Yeah, I've got a niche market now doing the lawyers' robes and judicial robes and regalia for universities, but I have wanted to be a fashion designer forever, since I was 5 years old. My mom made all of our clothes when we were kids, and I'm pretty sure that's where I got the bug. She was very creative, and I'm like a dog with a bone. It's what I wanted, and I went after it, and I got it. There's been some bumps along the road, but I've got a very successful business.
Yes, you do, and both parents weren't equally as supportive.
No, my mom was 1,000% behind me and helped me actually find Parsons in New York, and it was a very difficult school to get into. They accepted, I think it was 30 students a year into the fashion design program. My father was the opposite. He said 3 things to me that I'll never forget. He says, you've got 3 strikes against you. Number 1, they only accept the creme de la creme from around the world, like 30 students. You're Black and you're a woman. And that really stuck with me. And the thing, if someone says to me, you can't do something, watch out.
Yes, I've known you a long time, and you've done everything you've said you would do, much to a lot of people's surprise. Your design career has, as you said, very successful. You're currently, you had a great design company called Is It Legal, and now you're designing under your own name, which is great. You've also extended across Canada now. I love the Indigenous part of tell our audience a bit about that.
So it started when Emily Carr University became a university. There were 4 in BC, and I approached them to ask who was designing their regalia, and they wanted somebody local, so they hired me, and I actually did their robes for 11 years. And then it just branched off, University of Alberta, or Mount Royal, Manitoba, SFU, like really prominent universities, and then incorporating Indigenous art onto all of the regalia, which is the way the country's going, has been phenomenal as a designer to work with all these different artists.
I love the story, and I'll tell our audience briefly, the reason you got into robes was because your best friend was a nurse, she became a judge, and
my friend Michelle, we've known each other since the 80s, and when she decided to switch careers and become a lawyer, she was called to the bar and got her robes, and she says, Beverly, these are horrible, they don't fit, they're basically like men's clothing. And so she says, you need to get into this business. And I didn't even know what this stuff looked like. So I started with shirts and then the waistcoats and the robes, and it took off. Mm-hmm. And in 1996, I was nominated for Entrepreneur of the Year by McCarthy Tetra, one of the largest law firms in the country, for innovation, design, and marketing. So
wonderful. Well, you found your niche, and you've kept it up to this very day. Also, your athleticism. You have been an athlete, but that's a good story if we can.
Yeah. So when I was my first year at Parsons, the stress was something I'd never experienced before, and I had ulcers in my first semester. I'd never felt so much pain in my life. And my doctor asked what I was doing for exercise. I says, well, I'm nothing. I didn't like to exercise. And he says, if you don't find some way to deal with the stress physically, you won't live to see 30. And it scared me to death. And so I started aerobics, and I haven't stopped.
Yeah, now you're a runner and you've won, that's a whole other show.
Yeah.
We'll get you back on talking about your running career, which is so inspiring, really. But we're going to end on your memoir.
Oh.
I am thrilled that you're doing this, and I think you've warned us. You're going to do a tell-all from childhood to adulthood and everything in between.
Yeah, there's going to be some shocking things that people probably look at me and have no idea. Some incredible stories like my time at Studio 54 in New York and just how I got there and what I went through, and there's just so much. You can't make this stuff up. So it's going to be very entertaining, some dark stuff, but I'm really excited about writing it and getting it out there.
Yeah, we're all excited. So thank you, Beverly Barnes. Daughter of Emery Barnes, for some of you that would recognize that name for sure. Again, extremely accomplished in her own right, and we will have you back when your memoir is published.
Absolutely, Lita. Thank you.
Thanks.
Sponsorship and other promotional considerations provided by Bosa Foods, authentic Italian, with 2 locations to serve you better. More information, go to bosafoods.com. This act of kindness segment is sponsored by the folks at the Creek House in the heart of Granville Island. They encourage you to open up your heart and reach out and help someone in need.
But as a kid, I came to Arts Umbrella, and every summer with my brother.
That's amazing.
And Arts Umbrella was a big part of us growing up, and I think a really big part of the creative people that we are now.
So you were here in the early years when I ran Arts Umbrella.
I think so, yeah.
I'm so moved.
Yeah.
I'm so honored that you came into the room today to share your story with us.
Well, what you just looked at is really what this place is all about. And this place is Arts Umbrella on Granville Island, part of our latest Random Act of Kindness segment, joined by what we call our kindness ambassador. Dave McCann is back with us, and we have a special guest here who we're going to introduce in just a second. First, David, you wanted to be here for Arts Umbrella. We're just down the street from where you're based at Creek House. Talk a bit about why we are here today, and then we'll introduce this lovely woman.
This lovely lady and one of her friends really shows the power of 1 or 2 people that can make a difference in our world. They went from sitting around a kitchen table talking about a few little art classes to having one of the premier children's art institutions in the world, not just Canada, but in the world.
Yeah.
Carolyn Rickies and her friend are just to be congratulated for what they've done.
Yeah, Carol, this is quite a story, and Dave has talked about this element in our segments where the power of one, a couple of people coming up with ideas. As you mentioned, you're sitting around a kitchen table 45 years ago with your girlfriends saying, we got to do something here, and you all put in $50 each. I don't laugh at that, but I look at what's here today. Talk about those early years and what you and your female friends envisioned.
Well, it was really just myself and my friend Gloria Schwartz. She was a dancer, and I was a sculptor. And we both went back to school at a particular point. She went to Simon Fraser, and I went to what's now Emily Carr. And we said what Vancouver really needed was a really premier art center for young people. High quality classes taught by high quality instructors. And so one day she turned to me and she said, okay, Carol, it's enough talk. So we put together 4 people, and I'm gonna name them. It was Carolyn Kramer, Sheila Smeaton, and Lois Wolf. And we each put $50 into the pot, and we ran a pilot project. We actually got a lawyer friend of ours to help us, and we became registered as a not-for-profit and a charity within the first year. And we got a professor from SFU in the business department help us write a business plan, very complete, and it's what we are today from day one. And we ran a pilot project, and it was over on the south shore of Granville Island in a project, actually my husband designed a housing project in the communal spaces with 45 children. And we held an open house at the end of the 6 weeks. And the then head of Granville Island, Alan Hammond, came to our open house. I'm not sure how he got there because I don't know if he saw an ad for it or I sent him an invitation, I don't remember. And he came up to me and he said, Carol, your project is exactly what we need on Granville Island. Come and see me and I'm going to give you a building. And we did go see him and we ended up with the building on Cartwright, not the one we're in now. And the rest is history, right? Except we're here to talk about, I know, the kindness of strangers. And we had never fundraised in our life. The lawyer volunteered his time, the man from Simon Fraser, and all of us did. And we had to get help to raise the money. And Arthur Folks was a prominent lawyer in the city and philanthropist. And we went to see him and we said, we need help. And he said, I'll help you raise the funds to renovate the building. The building was an old warehouse. It was obviously not in good shape. And we got a grant from the provincial government. He helped us get it. And we had 25 out-of-work men renovate that building. And when we began, it was all about a lot of volunteers. Then we built a volunteer board with David Whitelaw as our chair of the board. And you cannot begin to do something like Arts Umbrella without the support of the community. And that's what we're all about today, is the community helping from kindness in their hearts and wanting to be involved and wanting to make it grow and be better.
What's interesting, David, jump in here too, because one of the consistencies when we talk about what you do and on Granville Island is that everything that Carol talked about, I'm looking at it through a 2024-23 lens, not 1979-80, when this island really wasn't that appealing.
It was an industrial wasteland. And I mean, when you look at people that had a vision, I don't think Carol ever envisioned that it would be what it is today, but they sat around the kitchen table and they said, let's try and make a difference. And it's like when you throw a pebble in the pond, you don't know where the ripples are going to go. And I just encourage people, if you've got an idea to go out and help people, go and do it. Because this is what can be the end result.
It's amazing. And I think what it is, like people always say to me, Carol, is this what you envisioned? And I think what happened is we never saw an end. We just kept building. We didn't say when we got somewhere, well, that's it, right? And so it's a different feeling that if you have an end game, then you have a beginning game that keeps growing. And I think that was one of our strengths, is that we had a beginning game.
And before we wrap this segment up, David, a nice presentation to Carol and Arts Umbrella.
Jim, you and Lita were kind enough to give me the sheet music that you see here. It's from the movie Barbie. It's signed by the very talented team that directed and did the movie and did the music. And it's a gift to Arts Umbrella for you to use in your fundraising purposes. I know there'll be a lot of people that will bid on these and take them home.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure.
This act of kindness segment was sponsored by the folks at the Creek House in the heart of Granville Island. They encourage you to open up your heart and reach out and help someone in need. Closed captioning and other promotional considerations provided by Hamilton High Street Senior Residence, Richmond's newest senior living community.
Well, ready to wrap things up here at Hydra, but before we go, our old friend Chris is joining us, who has not been on the show since last fall.
How come?
I can't believe that. Chris, are you seeing other shows behind our back?
No. Well, there's only one Jim and Lita in my heart.
Right.
Oh, good.
Anyway, Vancouver Cocktail Week is just a couple weeks from wrapping up. Very successful. Let's start with the cocktails here at Hydra.
Yeah, I thought I'd offer a little hangover cure from Cocktail Week. One of our classics, our holiday, a watermelon kind of margarita, a little tequila martini bitter, just a little bit more complex, a little bit more rich. This is our Distant Shores, just a beautiful, refreshing gin-based cocktail. A couple of cocktails that I just love the name of. This is a pear yuzu no.
Sorry, explain that.
If you know, well, yuzu and pear are just, they love each other. This is a love affair between pear and yuzu in a glass, okay?
Right, okay.
And it has to have a name like that. This is a play on a classic cocktail called The Last Word. And this is what we call, I'd like a word with your manager, please.
I like that.
Just a brief variation or a slight variation. The Distant Shores, a nice refreshing cocktail. A little combination of dessert and a drink in the same glass. This is our Frozen Garden.
Wow.
So you've got a little strawberry sorbet in there to enjoy. And it's very light, very refreshing.
Yes. Okay, let's jump into the food. Not all of this is happy hour, but
no, we have a great offering for happy hour every day, 3 till 6. It does include a great deal on our oysters. It includes some things like some spreads, other items, calamari, keperi, stuff like that. But I brought a bunch of other great share kind of snacks. Our fresh catch ceviche, a combination of prawn and scallop, cilantro, some pita chips for crisp, just light, refreshing. I brought our entire spread sampler. Tzatziki and hummus, everybody knows. This is meletzana and taramo salata. This has a nice touch of cod roe, nice tasty of the ocean, very Moorish. This is roast eggplant, smoky and meaty, but totally vegan and vegetarian. The prawns saganaki has lots of garlic butter, some feta cheese, some spinach, goes really well with the pita bread. Just a nice, easy grab and share.
Delicious.
Of course, I flambéed this for your table side. This is our cheese saganaki. Cafro Graviera is a sharp Greek sheep's cheese, which is just rich and salty. Best to eat while it's still
say
hot.
that 3 times. Sharp,
Cafro Graviera.
Yeah.
Sharp, rich.
Sharp Greek sheep's cheese.
Yes.
Sharp Greek
Well
sheep's
done.
cheese. Thank you. I practice for you.
I can see.
But yeah, we have to eat this before it gets too cold. And of course, I brought a selection of our local and premium East Coast oysters.
Best oysters here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sorry, happy hour is what time?
3 to 6 every day.
Okay, about to wrap up the show here. Of course, at Hydra. Chris, thank you again for a
Cheers,
wonderful
thank
time.
you.
Cheers.
Thank
And
you so much.
Bubbles.
Bubbles, always the best bubbles here at Hydra. $6 a glass, right, Chris?
Happy hour special.
Ooh, gotta love it. All right.
Come check out this great location in the Exchange Hotel, this Cabana Lounge where we are. I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapins.
I'm Chris.
Oh, very nice. We'll see you on the next edition of Our City Tonight.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Thanks, you guys.
Don't forget to check out 10 years worth of episodes and individual interviews, all on the Our City Tonight YouTube channel. The Richmond Sentinel, providing news, entertainment, and human interest stories in print and online.